Hello, my name is Megan Ireland, and for my video submission, I'm going to talk about the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort Convention Space. This resort is located at Universal Orlando Resort, which is about 15 minutes away, maybe 20 from the airport, and about 10 to 15 from downtown Orlando. The resort itself has a total of 1,000 rooms, along with 51 suites, with 481 king rooms and 469 two-double rooms. There is also a club level available. It opened June 2002, making it the third resort among the Universal Orlando resorts, and by far the largest, with the largest convention space. The total amount of meeting/function space is 132,000 square feet. There are two ballrooms, the Pacifica Ballroom, which is 42,000 square feet, and the Oceana Ballroom, which is 36,000 square feet. There are 15 meeting rooms, 4 dedicated meeting planner offices, and 25,000 square feet of the outdoor meeting space. This whole space is also connected to the Sapphire Falls convention space, which can double the size of the entire space. But right now I am discussing only Lowe's Royal Pacific. There is also, among all of its outdoor space, it does have the luau space that it can use as well, which is ideal for some of the meeting spaces and especially for receptions and things of that nature. On an average check-in date for a large group, there can be a turnover of about 900 rooms. That's example for HP. When they come into town and check in, they use almost every single hotel room. A few of the events, including HP, that happen there are mostly the big companies like MAC Cosmetics and HP, Heineke, Dell, and a few other companies like Marriott will come into town and sometimes use their spaces if they don't want to do things on their own property. There are conventions here like Live 360, which happens every year, ADAM, Association of Dermatology Administration and Managers, and a few others. There is also proms for high schools, weddings like I mentioned. The space itself has quite a few strengths, not to mention how much space is there. The high ceilings actually make the space feel much larger than what it really is, and no matter how many dividers you might use, you won't feel cramped in that space, something that I've always really liked about that space. With so many guest rooms that are nearby, you won't have to worry about transporting guests to and from the resort. They can actually either be at the resort or at one of the resorts that are at Universal Orlando Resort, so either walking or a water taxi ride over. Talking about Universal Orlando, it does have free transportation via water taxi or just a walking pathway over to Universal Orlando, which I think makes it a very unique convention space location. This resort also is the biggest that still has express passes included, which is a high incentive for many of the families that might choose to come to a convention there, or the companies that want to give their workers some incentive to come to a training and bring their families along. Now, the weaknesses that it has, I will say that the space itself is actually located on the first floor, whereas the entrance and the lobby area is on the third. Once you come in and you check in, if the front desk agent doesn't tell you where to go, and the company didn't say it either, the guests can get turned around. There's not really a whole lot of signage that will tell you where to go. You just really have to pay attention to the map and kind of have an idea of what kind of meeting you're going to, because they do have meetings all over the resort. They do also have another opportunity as far as food is concerned. They do a good job with the catering, but they don't have any really areas to sell their own food. They don't really have any servicing areas. They have a bunch of caterer servers that can bring stuff out, but they don't really have an opportunity to make more money or to have people be able to be fed by something other than what the company might have provided them. They do have, I would say the biggest threat right now is just exposure for this space, because right now they're really pushing the Lowe's Sapphire Falls Resort. As I mentioned, it is attached, but it is a little bit newer, has the exact same amount of space and the exact same amount of rooms as well. So that's a threat, but it is among their comp sets and the same company, so I don't really know if Lowe's is considering that as competition. Now, as far as other company competitions, there are quite a few nearby. The first being, of course, the Orange County Convention Center, which has a very good location, very close by. They do have a little bit more flexibility as far as the space itself, just having a bigger area to have more of a convention environment, and to make sure that they could have different types of food there. There's also a lot more parking available. I will say parking is also another weakness of the Royal Pacific Resort. The only thing about the Orange County Convention space, of course, is if you're not staying nearby, if you have to try and get there yourself, it is very difficult and there can be a lot of traffic. The second cheap competitor, I would say, would be Disney. It's a very similar kind of product that they're going to be providing as far as space, hotel rooms, entertainment in the area. But I will say Universal does have everything really centralized, so I would say that that would put it on top of Disney as far as if I were looking to book for it. The third I would say would be Marriott World Village, only because of how many rooms it has actually the most in town currently, I should say. So it can be a pretty good competitor for it. The market in this area, most of the bookings that the Royal Pacific has, if it's not doing smaller weddings, medium to smaller weddings, it's actually doing a lot of big businesses that just keep on bringing their companies back, either yearly meetings, yearly trainings, things like that. And so when talking to the folks over there, that's really the market that they're really driving and trying to get that exposure out there, working with other third parties and trying to get that business as much as they physically can. It's a beautiful space. It's one of my favorites in town. I highly suggest this space if I know of any other people that are looking for a space in town. And